ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there.
Welcome,
'Cause that's
and
what
thank you so
friends are
much for
supposed to do.
coming,
Oh
everyone.
yeah.
We're gonna start. We're about to pull up the agenda, and if you could please chat, I would appreciate it.
If you're
And
tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall
you
asleep,
know, it's COVID and it's the
I'll sing a
revolution, and
song
everything's going down. So
beside
people
you.
are having a few technical
And if you
difficulties,
ever
but
forget how much you really mean to
I
me,
believe that whoever's in this room
every
right
day I will
now can feel
remind you.
you're in the room.
Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need.
Welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, please take the time to introduce yourself in the chat. And we will be pulling up our agenda. And if you hear any piano, my son is having his piano lesson right now upstairs. Oh, yay, perfect timing. Okay, so here we are at our first ever annual meeting. There's a lot that we are trying to pull together and make happen the way that it's supposed to happen. And just because we may have made mistakes in the past doesn't mean we can't correct things starting now. So we're going to open our meeting. You can see the agenda. I'll just go over it quickly. This is our annual meeting for 2020. We will open, we will have a board report. We will have the story of our school, which is kind of a timeline. We'll talk about the new board members and how to vote. We will have a state of the school, which will talk about what we do and who we are here at the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson Montessori School. There will be a place for you to comment if you'd like, and we'll close. So without further ado, we're going to open by calling our ancestors into the space. We can do it with silence. We can do it by speaking their names. You can choose to acknowledge what people say, or you can choose to ponder it and hold it silently. But I would just like to open the space and say that from the north to the south, to the east, to the west, to the ancestors, we love you and we thank you, Ashe. And any ancestors that you'd like to bring into the space, please feel free to do that. Welcome. All right, well, hi, I'm Kenna, and I am a member of the board here at the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson Montessori, and I am going to be providing you with your board report. We as a board are in a process of strategic realignment. To be perfectly honest, as a board, we were an emerging board. We still are an emerging board. We are still taking very seriously our professional development and learning as what exactly is required of us as a board of directors. And we are engaging in ongoing training to that end. I'm currently in a 3-week board training. And one of the things that I'm learning about is characteristics of high performing boards. And I'm excited for us to really dig into that work and get more strategic and more intentional about the way that we do our work as a board. But as a board, we are responsible for basically oversight that our school leaders are carrying out the mission and vision of our school. And we are also responsible for holding space for our staff, for our community, for even for school leaders and for anyone who has questions, comments, and concerns about the things that we do here at the school. We are a mouthpiece. We are also a listening ear, and we are also hands and feet that work. So we as the board, or I'm speaking for all of us as the board, are on a journey of learning more and really carrying out the mission or carrying out our responsibility to the mission of our school. And that is the conclusion of the board report. Now I'm going to bring us to our story of our school, which actually has information about the board too. So welcome to the family. Brightwater started in 2008 as a one-room schoolhouse that was a children's house, just a Montessori preschool. And Ann Luce was the founder. And from the beginning, we wanted to have Montessori on the north side of Minneapolis. Maria Montessori is an educator and a scientist who developed a way of teaching children. And there's lots of ways that it can be manifested. I just like this quote because it puts it in a nutshell the way that I think we all at the legacy of Dr. Josie Johnson think about children in our work as well. So I'd like to read the quote. Now, what really makes for a teacher is love for the human child, for it is love that transforms the social duty of the educator into the higher consciousness of a mission. So our school grew and we added more grades and changed buildings a few times to come to our current location. And there's just been a lot of challenges with growth, but I feel that we can rise to the challenge. We now have the wonderful and beautiful leaders, Tanisha Abdur-Salam and Jamal Abdur-Salam. Every day, they work with passion and integrity to fulfill the mission and vision of our school. We do have a history. You know, they are not the first leaders to come and lead the school. And to be honest, we have been searching and finding in a period of having different leaders for a while. But this is now Miss T's third year with us. And I'm really hopeful for longevity and consistency. The board of directors. Now is a time that I would like for any current board members that are here in the meeting, now is your time to introduce yourself. And we will go in order of the slide. So my name is Kenna and I'm a board member and I'm a teacher. I teach 6 to 9-year-olds in the Eagle's Nest. And I'm also a former parent. My son graduated from our school 2 years ago, graduated 6th grade. And I'll turn it over to Christopher Aaron.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear is my audio on? Awesome.
You're good.
My name is Christopher Aaron Deans. I am a parent. First, I have second graders. I have I have third graders, I'm sorry. I have a second grader and I have a kindergartner. It is busy and hard to keep up. But I have a lot of young people that are very engaged and love um, Josie Johnson Montessori Legacy School. And there is so much excitement about what's happening here in our school. And I just want to share that as a parent, I'm super engaged. I'm a board member, community activist, and I'm an artist, a public artist, an educator as well in Fridley Public Schools. So I'm just a little busy, but I'm very excited about being here with you guys tonight, and I'm just excited about movement. So glad we're moving, doing some things.
Okay, so right now we are a pretty small board. Emerald, Matthew, Renee, Sherry, and myself and Christopher Aaron. But oh, oops, I jumped the gun. Okay, so actually, I wanted to big up our leaders a little bit more and talk about the approach that we want to do here at the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson Montessori. I just love this sentence: leveraging Montessori pedagogy in collaboration with evidence-based, oh, something's in the way. Move. Evidence-based practices, specifically Dr. Wade Noble's world-renowned research in pedagogy in Saka Sun Sum, touching the spirit. I think that's a great encapsulated way that we're looking at using all of the talents that and all of the information that we have available to us. And everything here was pulled off of our website, which has recently been redesigned. So there's a lot of information there. So please take a look at jjlegacy.org. So now, oops. Y'all, I'm all over the place. Okay, I wanted to talk about the new board members next, so I'm just gonna skip to that. Our board is really small, and we're trying to grow it. And we have this wonderful slate of individuals: Kefra Raku, Julie Flexhog, Lindsay Bearwald, Tony Williams, Edwina Johnson, and Jacqueline Williams, who have filled out a nomination form and agreed to become part of our board of directors. So this is our annual meeting, and this is where we are presenting our slate of potential new board members to the community. And all of our community members have a right to vote. So the information down here, I'm going to put in the chat when we move on. But each potential board member has their application per se, and it's on our website. So at the board of directors section, you can scroll and look at each one of them, what is their qualifications and what they feel they will bring to the board. And then there's another link for a vote, which will be taking place on Google Forms, and the voting will be open until next Monday. So everyone in our community has the right to say, yes, I'm down with these people. And then when you look at the ballot, you'll see like you can check each person. So if there's anyone that you're not comfortable with for any reason, you don't have to select their name. You can voice your dissent that way. And we want to say that we definitely listen to and honor dissenting voices here at JJ Legacy. Now, I would like to say that this legacy slide is kind of my interpretation of everything that we're trying to pull together. That we are definitely child-centered, that no matter what curriculum we're talking about, we will keep children at the center of and their learning and their achievement at the center of what decisions we're making, that we're data driven, and that we're getting better about using data and assessments to make informed decisions. You'll hear more about that from our school leaders. And we are also justice oriented. We do understand that there are forces in this world that we have the power to affect change on, but we have to be the change that we want to see. And education can be a powerful tool for that. And I would like to say that our school leaders have brought a lot of that work to us as a staff and as grownups as well. And then that will trickle down to our children. And I'm just very over the moon about that. I would like to bring this section to a close with a quote from Dr. Josie R. Johnson. I realize the struggle requires many different approaches, but what is consistent in this work is a determination to honor the historical struggle of our ancestors and the belief in us as a people. All right, so that brings the first two parts of this meeting to a close, and now I'm going to turn it over to our school leaders for the state of the school.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening, everybody.
Oh yeah, good evening. Sorry, it's not afternoon, it is evening. Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I just want to give some acknowledgement to Ms. Kenna for such a beautiful introduction and for the planning and for all of the work that you have done to go into this annual meeting to give us an opportunity to connect with the community. So I thank you for your work and for your commitment to that. And I appreciate the introduction. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be head of school here at the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson. As I said, I'm Tanisha, head of school.
All after Islam, the proud principal here at the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson, Montessori.
So we're just happy to see you all this evening. Thank you for joining us. There are a few things that we were asked to touch upon in our address to the community. And I'm going to start with, first and foremost, again, thanking and acknowledging everyone that has committed themselves to the board, our staff. You know, this is really challenging work, being committed to not just a vision, but keeping children at the center of everything we do it sounds good, but it is a really, really deep and challenging charge to us as adults. And so I am grateful for the staff that we have and grateful for the way in which the board has wrapped their arms around themselves and continue to try to grow and change and develop. So I have much appreciation for that. As we think right now about what times we're in, COVID has really impacted a lot of things that we had in the works, a lot of things we had planned, a lot of things we were smack in the middle of when COVID hit us as a nation and globally. And so I just wanted to touch a little bit on that to really just kind of affirm the hard work that our staff have put into this idea of going into hybrid from a distance learning perspective. We spent a lot of time collecting data, a lot of time listening to families with their concerns on both sides, and have really positioned ourselves to ensure our staff feel that they have free choice as to whether or not they'd want to work from home or come in and work during a hybrid session. And so we recently made the decision to move into hybrid after a lot of I'm hearing a lot of different perspectives from one end to the other. On November 2nd would be our first day. And we recognize that we have some children who desperately need to be in the space and to be in community in terms of their learning and their growing and their development. We also recognize that we have staff who are willing to take that another step, if you will, in the direction of coming into the building and working with our children. We've been running our preschool since September 8th and have had a really successful journey, I would consider. We haven't had any cases of COVID. We have gone along all of the guidelines from the Department of Health to MDE, to all of the other advice and kind of learnings we've taken from all of the partnerships that we're involved in with other heads of schools, other superintendents, other principals, to just kind of learn as we watch them go through this hybrid process as well. And so we are moving into it slowly. We'll be doing 2 days to start. A lot of our families, actually 70% of our families wanted a 4-day option. And although we wanted to lean into that and really speak to what our families were asking, we also recognize that this is new for us and that it would be wiser for us to slowly work our way up to a 4-day option to ensure that we have all of the things in place to keep our children safe, to keep our staff safe, and to keep our families safe. And so that's been a lot of the work that has happened in the last month or so has been around getting the building prepared, making sure that we have the appropriate cleaning devices, that we have the appropriate systems. What we've learned in 2020 is that things look real good on paper, until you get into the physical space and really start to try to put it to life. So, you realize, well, the door doesn't even swing that way. So nope, we can't do what we wrote down on the paper. We're going to have to make some adjustments. And so we've been able to do that in the building and really feel good about moving forward in that direction with a lot of caution and realization of how serious this is. We did lose a precious staff member to COVID this year. And, we're still working through the grieving process of really missing a phenomenal, not only a phenomenal educator, but just a phenomenal woman. And so we recognize the risks and we are not taking those lightly in any way, shape, or form. So I wanted to just give an update to the community in that regard. If you go onto our website, you'll be able to see all of our COVID plans. You can see the parent handbook. There's also the COVID plan that's on there that lays out what we're doing both in the hybrid and in our distance learning modules. We also have a handbook that we have disseminated to staff that they will be reading through and acknowledging through our Bamboo HR system that they've read. And it talks about everything from how to even properly take off your mask, how to properly take your gloves off, and everything in between to keep them safe. And so those are just some of the efforts that have gone into it, but it's been a team effort with our COVID coordinator, with the admin team, with some of our teachers. And we have sat down with every single team to make sure that we're working through any concerns, any challenges, and even pushed it out a week because we wanted to make sure that the people in house felt solid and secure about these next moves. So just giving a quick update. Are there any questions on that before we move to our next section? Okay, we'll keep rolling. Please jump in if there are questions or comments. So I'm gonna pass it to Mr. J to talk a little bit about our academics and our.
First, we got to talk about Mama Josie.
Oh yes, that's right. Sorry.
And how that came to be.
That book.
When you make a choice to become a principal at the age 78, and you have a focus on education the way that our leader has had a focus on education over her entire career, alongside her civil rights work, and just the overall energy to heal the community and do what's right by families. It is only right that at some point that we honor a school in her name and that we think about legacy in the process of doing that. Mama Josie got her legacy very young. She understood in her community that she would be filling some big shoes when she got older. Fisk at 16 just really had an idea about what she was going to do with her life really young. She was thinking about legacy as early as 11 when she was out encouraging folks to vote or getting folks to sign up to vote so that we could have the rights and the freedoms that we have here today to be able to sit here and have this conversation. So it is only right that at this point and stage of her career, at 90 years old, watching her still work and do what she does to heal the community, that we honor her by putting her name on the front of our school. So that is how the name came to be. We took there were a lot of different ideas out there about what our name could be. We even listened to our students and they had some great names as well, but none fit like this one. None fit like the one we have now. And it's an honor to be thinking about her legacy in the process of raising up young legacy builders here at our Montessori school. So with that, do you want to say anything about Mama Josie before we go forward? I think that's good.
Yeah.
So every school has to have a strategic plan, a comprehensive strategic plan. That's the world's best workforce plan for us. In the world's best workforce plan, there are 5 goals that we got to pay attention to. We want to make sure that all of our children are ready for school. Kindergarten ready. We want to make sure that the 3rd graders can read before, we want them to be reading at grade level. That's a serious deal for us. If you remember the 10 books we sent home in the summer that we raised money to get for our kiddos, that's what it was about. We wanted to keep their minds fresh, keep them reading, so that coming in the fall, we have confident readers in the classroom ready to go so that we can just push them where they need to go next. It's also about closing the achievement gap, racially, however you want to, chop it up. That's important work in our school. We want to close that gap and make sure that every child in our school is feeling like they can thrive in the environment and is making the grades that we know that they can get in our schools. We want all our students to be ready for college. We want them to be thinking about those, planting that seed now. Hence College Hall here at our school. We are planting the seed now. We want them to be college ready. And for all students to graduate from high school. So when you have a comprehensive strategic plan, you are thinking about these 5 things when you put it together. And what I'll say about that is that this plan is always going to be located. It will be on our website for you to see. I want to say now that we will create space to meet with families called Coffee with the Principal and the Head of School, where we can also get into discussing our goals a little bit deeper and even discuss the indicators attached to them. What I'll say to you is that we've decided to move our goals from last year, given everything that happened, from the things that went bad in our community to the pandemic. We've moved most of our goals from last year over to this year. So really aligned to this idea that we want to be a strong Montessori presence for our kids. We want to keep the Montessori method in place. Also understanding that as a result of things happening between distance learning and hybrid, that is a little bit difficult right now. So what I can say to you is that we are still using the state accountability tests to assess whether our kids are growing. And we've added some things along the way here to push our children or to push ourselves to make sure that we are working with data, good data to inform our instruction. So it won't just be NWEA map testing or MCA data that we're looking at to see where things are at for our kiddos. We also are getting trained in easy CBM right now. We will still continue to use Fountas and Pinnell and get training in that. That'll be more of an in-person assessment. But beyond that, we are getting trained as a team in some other tools, and those things will be implemented so that we can use them not just in the classroom, but also online as well with our kiddos. So we're doing some of those things remote right now too. And we're also looking at a curriculum that can also sit right alongside the Montessori method. It is very hard through a screen to prepare the environment for our children and to do good observations. So we understand that. We understand that most Montessori schools are really struggling with that right now as a result of this pandemic. So we also have a new curriculum coming in that'll also give us a way to keep our kids learning and keep them on task. There's units in it. There's everything we need there. It's called Engage New York. We have a fabulous team working with us and looking out for us from the Regional Center of Excellence. And they've done a great job of coming in and helping us get trained up and helping us really think deeper about standards and benchmarks and how we align that to our instruction. So it's been a great thing to be a part of and see. It is exactly what I came here for. I left a long career in a big district to come here and create an experience for our babies that they can really see themselves in, where they feel fully human and their identity and experiences are recognized in the process of their learning. That they feel that, a real sense of that from the time they hit the door to the time we send them home. So I'm honored to be a part of a team that began this journey. We were writing units last year and trying to make sure that whatever we were doing is aligned to standards and benchmarks, but also very culturally rich and relevant to the children that we are serving and the families that we are serving. That has been something that we will continue to do. We will adapt the things that we have in front of us to make it work and make it accessible to our babies. This will be work that we will continue to do, but just so that we can make sure that things are moving and that we have a scope and sequence in the curriculum in place. We are now being trained and beginning to use a new curriculum called Engage New York. I want to emphasize on this call that this is not an abandonment of the Montessori name in our title. This merely is something that we need to do right now to respond to the situation we're in. I'm going to leave things there right now because I've gone over my time a little bit, but know that we will be in the space if you want to talk more about how things shake down from our goals to the measures.
The last thing that we're going to close out is just mentioning our committees. So in the past, we've had school committees, various school committees. Some of those committees are dictated by law. Other committees are committees that we've identified as a school are important committees to us in terms of collaboration. This year, because of the pandemic and just how we've had to navigate the online space with both our staff, our students, and community, and because we are really seeing this reemergence, if you will, of the board engaging and really, as Kenna mentioned earlier, really leaning into their roles with us. Because of that, we want to create our internal committees with the school and align them in some way, shape, or form with the committees of the board. We believe that if we're going to be in true community and true collaboration and partnership, that there needs to be an alignment between what we're looking at internally and how we're collaborating and how that directly connects with the board, who also represents the community. And so within the next couple of months, we will be publishing on our website our new school committees. And we anticipate that those committees are going to be full and rich because of us engaging and negotiating in a different way with our board. So I just wanted to name that, and we will have plenty of opportunities for our staff internally to join those committees. And again, we'll be reaching out to our larger community as well to join us so that we can continue to stay in collaboration with one another. Thank you for the time. Thank you for allowing us the space to share and for the recognition and the acknowledgement. Looking forward to continuing to learn and to grow. Again, we've never lived through a pandemic. We didn't plan on running a school from our kitchen. And that's what reality has given us. But we're all gonna lean in together, and we're gonna do our changes and adaptations and ups and downs. We are committed to staying the course with our community, with the board, because we know that we need to be on one accord for our children. So with that, thank you all, and we'll take any questions.
Yep, this is the time for questions, comments, concerns, accolades, shout outs, whatever you guys want to say.
I want to shout out our student council, our drumline, our tutors from AmeriCorps, our fabulous staff, the assistant guides who are out there delivering meals and jumping in classrooms, and certainly can't leave out our lead guides who show up and show out for our kiddos and go above and beyond. I just want to make sure I put that into space.
This is Leah Fulton. I've got a kindergartner in the children's house and a preschooler in the children's house. And I would just shout out Miss Hopkins and her team and the ways that they are responsive to and sensitive to the needs of the children's house family. I have some real apprehensions about how people respond to my Black sons in educational settings. And I consistently say to folks, our boys are at JJ Legacy, and that is where they will be because we trust the school leadership there. And I can't say that necessarily for my first grader is. And so I just, this is the space and opportunity to just be able to say that their attentiveness and the work that they do means much.
Thank you, Leah. We love your babies.
Miss T. Shout out to the admin team too, though. You know, I got to quit leaving us out. You know, shout out to Director Hopkins, Director Williams. Absolutely. Miss Anita, our clerk, you know, they've all made it a nice, smooth transition. Miss Laura, we see you. Without them, we can't do what we do.
I wanted to leave space if any Jackie Williams, if you wanted to say anything about you're on our slate. Would you like to introduce yourself and say anything right now?
Actually, I didn't really have much of a comment, but I do actually want to ask a question. I wanted to know about, I know that on November 2nd that we're going to transition to the 2 days of to start. But is there also a plan for, the advancement of going to the 4-day, and what do we as prospective people or the staff, what are we going to do in order to try to make that leap?
What we've been doing is we've been kind of putting ourselves on a 6-week time frame. That's just the time frame that a lot of other schools have kind of gone along with. And so we've just followed in that regard. So we've just been taking it 6 weeks at a time. I think what was really important for this first 6 weeks of learning that we had distance learning is it gave us an opportunity as a school to get better at distance learning. When we were dismissed back in March, the governor gave us 8 days to get ready. And it wasn't a school that was built on a lot of technology. We didn't have a lot of apps. I think Ms. Kenna was like one of the main teachers who were using apps with families. Nobody else was. And so we didn't have a lot of time to prep to get ready for distance learning. And so we did end the year. I think we ended the year well, considering the facts, but there was a lot of work over the summer to improve and to tighten up what we were doing online. So that first 6 weeks that we're kind of coming out of gave us a chance to really build that capacity so that anytime we have to go back to distance learning fully, we've got some experience under our belt. And so we're going to take the next 6 weeks as soon as November hits and see how things go. And then we'll be surveying the families again, asking them their feedback. We'll be surveying the staff again and asking their feedback, and then looking at all of the data. And then we'll begin to kind of make those decisions from there.
Will distance learning continue to be an option for parents who either have concerns or are in transitions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Distance learning will be an option until the end of the school year, for sure. We will leave that open. Obviously, we don't know what next year is going to look like, but absolutely, every family will have that option to stay distance learning, and every staff member has the option to stay home from distance learning.
That statement by saying that we're also watching the numbers very closely, and we see right now that the numbers are going up across the nation. If that continues to rise, become a much more concerning number, it won't be 6 weeks before we decide whether or not it's distance learning. We will convene and figure out what's the safest option for our children and our families and our staff, and make a decision. It could be sooner than 6 weeks if the number takes off here during the flu season.
Or if our staff really, some things come up for them as we're in this process and they believe that it's not the best space for whatever reason, for safety concerns, whatever, we're taking all that in. So yeah, it would be before 6 weeks is up.
I'm up at 4:30 every morning with a cup of coffee, studying the news heavy. Make sure that we got our numbers together.
Howdy there. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
My name's Mitch Klein. I'm the father of Ash Klein. He's currently in kindergarten right now. I first want to thank you, teachers and administrators, for the sacrifices that you're making and the continued effort that you're making towards the betterment of the education of our children. Now, I'm on my phone right now, otherwise I would have the camera on and really be on my laptop, but I got myself a set of coffee. I was amongst some of the privileged individuals to be able to continue to work. I'm an electrician. And you had mentioned that you focus on college. I don't want to just sit there and detract from that, because college is, from some of my friends have gone there and they've gotten better from it. But as an electrician, I can't help but not help them focus on like the trades, to where I'm an electrician. I'm an apprentice electrician of 4 years. And I'm currently able to afford a home, a house, a car, kids, school, clothes, all of that. And I would hope that the trades also get some love, because I'm 30 years old and I'm one of the youngest electricians in my trade. We could sure as heck use the help in getting some very hands-on and knowledgeable apprentices to help us continue the trade on. Otherwise, the pay rise to man hours is going to change. But enough of that. once again, I want to kind of refocus my rant onto all of you. Am I a little frustrated that we pushed back to the second? Yes, but I cannot speak for anyone else, and I do not wish anyone else to compromise their safety for my son's education. I wish for everyone to stay happy and healthy so that we can continue this relationship that we have. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate your words, Mr. Klein, and we hear you loud and clear. Our goal is to make sure that we have individuals that feel that they can do anything, that they can grow up and they can be whatever they choose to be, and that it's aligned with what the investment they've made in themselves and their legacy and their ability to learn and learn well. You know, if it'll be college for some will take a different route. Our goal is to make sure that they feel that the world is accessible to them and that the community is theirs and there's a rightful place for them when it's their time. We want to ensure that they're ready, whatever way they choose to go there. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. And we need to talk, Mr. Klein, about some electrical stuff around this way.
You can come up
One
to
of
the
these
school,
days,
man.
we do need to talk.
I
We
can
need
make
you.
you a salesman for LED Electrical. I work for Noble Conservation Solutions. You can look them up online. They're the #1 LED provider in the state of Minnesota. And we can
Love
most
it.
definitely work out at something with your electricity.
Love it. Thanks, Mr. Klein. Appreciate you.
We got you on YouTube, man.
And we're not leaving
I'm gonna
your
watch that tape and come back to it, man, and appreciate you. Absolutely.
We will not leave trades out. We will not.
Hey y'all, we've done such an excellent job of doing this annual meeting. Like I said before, I don't know, Miss Laura, can you remember another annual meeting? I don't remember us doing this before,
We
really
had one. It was my first year there. We had one, and that was the year you actually recruited me to come. Kenna actually recruited me to come be head of school at the school. We had one, and it was a blur, and it was like 40 people on the board, and I don't really remember. This feels like community. This feels like, I want to say this is our first annual meeting as legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson Montessori.
That's 100% true.
Yes.
So with that, we will bring to a close the first annual meeting of the legacy of Dr. Josie R. Johnson Montessori. I thank you so much for your participation. And again, please visit the board of directors section of the website to cast your vote for the slate of new board members. And with that, I'm gonna say peace and love. And I'm gonna end this meeting unless anybody has any last words. The window is closing.
Good night.